With the NFL season right around the corner, we are here today to give you a preview and prediction of the NFC South. Let's go. Hey folks, if you are here, please hit that subscribe button. That includes Falcons, Saints, Bucs fans, and of course Panthers fans, as this is a Carolina Panthers podcast. Folks, we're here today to do something a little bit different. As I spend all of my time talking about the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to pivot today and give you a prediction of how the season is going to pan out in the NFC South. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that the Carolina Panthers right now are not favored to win the division. I went out to VegasInsider.com. The current betting favorite is the Atlanta Falcons at minus 140, Buccaneers at plus 300, Saints at plus 450. A little bit surprising that the Saints are that much closer to the Bucs, although it's still a pretty decent line. And then the Panthers at plus 1,200. I've seen variations of plus 1,100 all the way down to plus 950. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won the NFC South 3 times in a row. Before that, it was the Saints winning it 4 times in a row, followed by the Falcons. Carolina Panthers won it 3 times before that, from 13 to 15. So the Falcons have not won the division since 2016. And the Carolina Panthers, as we know, have not won it since 2015. This is one of the weakest divisions in football, which is a reason that a lot of folks are high on teams being able to kind of turn things around. One of those teams primarily being the Atlanta Falcons. And so personally, as I sit here and stack the division, I think it makes sense, considering everything that the Falcons put together in the offseason, that they may be the favorite, slight edge, at least betting, just like we saw right there. But at the same time, I'm not going to shy away or not think that Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can take the division again. I think it's going to be competitive. In my opinion, I think it's a 2-team race between the Falcons and the Bucs. And right now, it's tough for me as we lay out. I guess before we actually lay out my prediction, I went through Pro Football Focus Simulator, which is a really nice tool if you haven't done it. I thought it'd be nice. I mean, I could run this simulator 100 times, however many times I wanted to, but I at least wanted to have a starting point, so I ran it 4 times. Let's go over the results, and I'll pop them up here, but then we'll also give you my prediction at the end of how things are going to pan out. So in the first simulation, it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finishing at 11-6, winning the division. The Falcons at 10-7, the Saints at 5-12, and the Panthers at 2-15. So not a significant improvement. I think at the top, that's accurate between the Bucs and the Falcons. I could absolutely see that being the case for the division. In the second simulation, Falcons handedly won this division at 12-5, followed by the Saints and the Bucs finishing both at 7-10. I don't think I see 7 wins for the Saints, maybe 6 or 7, but hard to believe that the Saints would overtake the Bucs. I'm just not that high on the Saints this year. And best simulation by far for the Carolina Panthers at 6-11. 6-11 should be the bar for the Panthers and Panthers fans. I mean, as a team, of course, the bar is the playoffs and winning. We know that, but I mean, from realistic expectations, goal-setting standards, like this is the focal point. And 6 wins is a big improvement over last year, 3 times as many. In the third simulation, it was the Falcons overtaking a weak division again at 9-8, Bucs at 8-9. Saints at 7-10, and the Panthers still doubling their win total, but finishing out at 4-13. I think it would be a disappointing season if the Panthers only got the 4 wins. As bad as last year was, I think we really do have to get to 5 or 6 wins, even though that's not a big jump from 4. But this one may be a little bit closer. Like, I think we may think that the Falcons are going to be so much better, or if you're a Bucs fan, that the Bucs are going to be that much better. But I think there's a good chance that, hey, you know what? Maybe closer than we think. And here's the runaway version where we probably would get 2 teams into the playoffs, possibly 3, which would be wild coming from the NFC South. But you have the Falcons at 13-4, the Bucs at 10-7, Saints at 9-8, and the Panthers finishing off at 3-14. So in all these simulations, it's Falcons, Bucs interchanging at the top of the division, but it seems, and as the odds would say, that those are the favorites to win the NFC South, followed by the Saints, which the simulation and or Vegas, and a lot of folks still think the Saints have a better chance than the Panthers. I think everything right now is a point-in-time reference that we don't know. We don't have anything to go off of except what we know from last year, and so we're assuming that the team is not going to be that much better, talking about the Carolina Panthers, than they were a year ago. For me personally, when I look at the division, I think the easy move for me would be to pick the Falcons to win, which I think is possible. I mean, the Bucs have, again, the number one, finishing at number 1. They've got to play the number 1, record, or teams that finish number 1 when they have the cross-reference games, or games where they play based off of where you finished in the division last year. So I could see it. I could see a drop-off with Baker Mayfield potentially without Dave Canales, a brand new offense. They do have some skill players. I like Todd Bowles. We know they started slow. I think the Falcons with a new staff, like, there's no guarantee that they're going to hit the ground running and things are going to work out the way that we would expect them to. So for me, it may not be the popular pick, but for right now, I'm going to still put the Bucs as number 1 in the division at maybe 10-7. And I do think the Falcons would follow right behind them, either tied at 10-7 or at 9-8. I do think we could get both of those teams into the playoffs. For the Saints and the Panthers, I think it's going to be a battle of the 3rd and 4th team in the division, closer to 5, 6, 7 wins between that bunch, hopefully not on the lower end. But I think the Panthers can overtake the Saints in this division this year, which, hey, coming from last, moving up to the 3rd would be a slight improvement over last year. So I'm going to pick the Panthers slightly above the Saints, let's say at 6-11, and Tampa. Oh my gosh, the Saints at 5-12. I said 6-11, right? 17, 5-12. Yep. Okay. Math's hard for me. Anyways, folks, that is my NFC South prediction. I'd love to hear yours. Drop it in the comments. And as always, appreciate y'all for tuning in.